Please me, baby. Turn around and just tease me, baby. You got what I want and what I need, baby.
Let me hear you say,
Please.
let me hear you say,
Please. Tease me, baby. Turn around and just tease me, baby. You got what I want and what I need, baby.
let me hear you say,
Please.
let me hear you say,
Please.
9 WEFM. WhatsApp us or call us at 457-9997. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
All righty, so time here in SVG, it is 8:13, and we are back with you for another commentary segment here on today's Activated Mornings program. In studio, you have Dianna, Cain, and myself, Roleza Samuel, and of course, at this time, every Monday morning, we are joined by Dr. Gerald Thompson. Dr. Thompson, good morning to you and your very lovely shirt. I like that shirt.
Thank you very much. But you know, the compliments really go to you and Dianna. I love Dianna's hair, natural, authentic, and your braids and so forth. The way it exposes your face, and so it just hits me. That's it. That's the comment that really has to be made. Yeah.
That's so we're just sharing compliments this morning then.
No, we're not sharing compliments.
No?
What I'm saying is real. I'm not just sharing compliments.
No, but we also giving you the compliments because I really do like that shirt.
I think the ladies deserve the compliments. I think the listeners and so forth would agree with me. You know.
Back to the show.
Is it that you don't know how to take compliments, Doc? Because
I admit the shirt is not local.
Okay.
The shirt actually comes from Bolivia. Right? I picked it up when I was there. But guess what? I picked it up from a black store in those areas. It's amazing how in Colombia, in Bolivia, and there are these large black communities that you don't know.
Don't pull up the mic. Let me see your voice sounding.
Whole swaths of those
right.
countries and so forth. Significant population and so, like in Brazil, northern Brazil. I mean, you know, it's amazing to know that a place like Brazil had the largest population of black people outside of Africa. You know,
Brazil.
Amazing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Brazil, in northern Brazil. Matter of fact, slavery in Brazil ended way after slavery in Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. We went on way past that. And it's a large amount of persons, you know, who are of African descent, now mixed in with other people and a Creole and all that other stuff.
Okay. Sounds like I need to go to our YouTube channel today and go look for a documentary on that. All right. Thanks for that, Doc. All righty. So we are going to jump into a topic at this time. And for those of you who are usual persons on Facebook, especially the comment section on Facebook, right? You would see that there is usually this quote from somebody says the church is happy with what is taking place in SVG. All right. So I'm reading this from St. Vincent Times. So ever so often, we would come across this comment under any post on social media by Ezekiel Simmons. Initially, it was very annoying to see his comment or see this comment being made loosely, even when the content had nothing to do with the church. With time, his persistence is continuing to make the comment led me to reflect on what might also be the reason behind it. In a time where culture is changing and society has no choice but to go along with the change, many people and organizations are becoming things of the past. I never thought the day would come when Vincentians, young and old, would hold firmly to atheism. It is also very sad when you realize that the church has lost its place in society. The church was a moral compass, a beacon of light in the dark world, but now, sadly, it seems like it has become lost as well. The silence of the church in critical times is deafening. All right. So I'm not going to read the whole thing. But it goes down at a point and says the truth is many churches are not addressing the reality of the spiritual decay we are facing. They would rather focus on superficial blessings than speak the truth that convicts hearts. They have gone from preaching salvation to performing like stage presenters. So maybe, just maybe, Ezekiel Simmons has a point when he says the church is happy with what is taking place in the country. Because if we were not, they would have risen up by now, not just with words, but with action. All right. They would have been in the communities, in schools, and on the streets, not just within the four walls on Sundays. All right. So you can read that full article or that full opinion piece on St. Vincent Times. But we do have to ask the question, is the role of the church slipping in SVG? And is the church happy with what is taking place in SVG? All right, so Dianna?
Why did you go to me? I wanted to go to Dr. Thompson first, saying that, he just got here to hear his opinion. Dr. Thompson, you go to church, right? Do you go to church?
Yes, I do.
So as somebody...
Are you an active churchgoer?
We're not an active church.
Okay.
Okay. Now this question is the role of the church slipping in SVG. I don't feel like I have enough information at this point to answer the question properly, but at this point in my life, I'm doing a lot of research into a lot of things, and the church is one of them because growing up, I had several discrepancies with the church. There are some things that I did not really understand. And as a child, children are very inquisitive and they usually like to have their curiosity satisfied. So I was really intrigued by some things. I wanted some answers, but I never asked the questions out loud because, adults, first of all, I was a child and I figured that adults know everything. And if the adults say so, then it's so. Additionally, in this society, in this particular environment, you don't question adults, and especially you do not question religion. That's one thing that is shut down. You're taught not to question God, not to question this, not to question that, just accept however things may go. I must say that some of what is written here is true, and more persons are realizing that the behavior of the churchgoers is not very pleasant. Most of them are horrible people. They do not want to hear that. When you talk about the church, they get very defensive. But most Christians are horrible people, but they hide under this, I'm a Christian, I go to church. And a lot of the most horrible people do not miss a session of church, Roleza. The Wednesday night prayer meeting, Tuesday night women's ministry, Friday night youth meeting, Sunday evening service, Saturday evening, whatever, they are there. They do not miss a beat, but they are some of the most horrible people you will meet. And when you call them out on some of the things that they do, some of the things that they say, they turn to the Bible and they start to use it to either justify or to defend their behavior. Today, when you talk about the church and you say, hey, the church isn't really doing things for us, it's not really doing what we expect it to do. Instead of, most of the time, I have not yet seen pastors or church members be honest and say, well, you are correct. We do have this issue and we need to work on it. I have not seen that. What you get instead is the defense. Y'all don't want to go to church, and it's because y'all don't go to church, y'all saying these things. And when people say they leave the church because of the people in the church, they get, why you don't leave your job? Because people at the job is like this and people in the world like this. So why you don't leave those things, but you live in the church? And all of these sort of issues. We have a lot of social issues, a lot of things that as individuals we can work on, and even better as a group because you have that support. And I don't think that the church is involved in a lot of those social issues. The most things I see church speaking up on is homosexuality and absence from church.
And carnival.
Oh yes, and carnival. Wow, I'm waiting for the season. You'll see them in the comment section. Looking at, I don't even know why you're in the comment section, because if it's not something that you go to, it's not something that appeals to you. Why are you watching the entire video to then go and comment on the video? You should have kept scrolling. But so those three things, they're very vocal about homosexuality. We know the famous white t-shirt march where they marched against the buggery law. I've yet to see a march against rape, but hey. Then of course, when you speak about church, sharing my experience here at the station since I've been here, we talk about so many things, and we usually say, hey, call us, give us your opinion. And most of the times when somebody comes in as a Christian to say something, or they want to give the Christian perspective, it's either when we're having conversations like this, or we're calling out the church for its shortcomings, or something like that. It's not, when you talk about many of the social issues, they're very quiet. They don't say anything. But the minute you start to say something about church, they get very defensive. And I do not think that that is good enough. I could start listing a whole bunch of things in the world that people could fix that you don't see the church fixing. To me, instead, emphasis is placed on coming to our building, come to our fancy building and listen to our fancy sermons and take part in our fancy service, and then go wherever you want to go after that. But I think they should be going into the communities more. Google's, according to ChatGPT, we got over 100. There's no definite number, but we have like over 100 and something churches in the country, right? That's a lot for a small country. You have over 100 and something churches. If you were to divide that up by constituencies, we have 15 constituencies. I mean, you're not gonna get a whole number because of the division, but let's say you could get let's say we place at least 7 churches in a constituency. So let's say that each constituency has 7 churches. And I wonder if the people in the villages and the communities, do they feel the presence of that church? Sometimes you live in an area and you have church like joke in the area, and you don't even know these people exist. You don't know they're there, because the only time you probably could tell there's a church is when you hear a service on a Sunday morning, or you hear a service on a Saturday morning and you see them going to church. But hey, if we're having a beach cleanup, you could take part in that. If we're going around and we have young men, we're talking about crime, and we call, the government, well, the church could do something about that. There are independent organizations and individuals who would take it up on their head to, I don't know, mentor some young boys, mentor some young girls, start this cause, do this little thing, help something to help the environment that we live in. But those, I don't know, the church could also do that, and I'm not saying that none at all does be doing anything, because I know that there are churches that do things. I know that there are people in the churches who genuinely are great people, and they would just do things out of their own pocket, do things that they would not even wait on the church. They would just go and just do it. And I genuinely believe that those are really, really good people. They just happen to be Christians as well. Right. Yeah. And that's it for now.
All right, Doc, you want to quickly come in?
Yeah, sure. How much time do we have?
We
a minute? 2.
3.
Let me say that a couple of weeks ago, I was lamenting how the discussion was, it's the police. The police ain't doing enough. I'm surprised that it is now that it's the church that is slipping, because really across the globe, the church, whether Catholics or play them, and there's some churches that are massive, and there's some churches that are small, and you can have many small churches that don't even make up to one of the massive churches. The numbers of churches I don't think is the issue. Or I would have some agreement with the article that there may be some slippage in some respect, but I think that we are not examining all the reasons for murders and for crime. And it isn't just the police we blame on one day. They no good, they ain't trained properly, and that's that, or that the church ain't doing their work. I want to add that it is what you've mentioned, also about the individual, also about community leaders, also about businesses and the role they're playing. And there's no doubt that I was looking at the World Health Organization. And do you know, looking at the regions of the world, Eastern Mediterranean has 5.3% murder rate. European region has 2.9%. The other areas, 3.1%. Do you know the Americas? 19.2%. And the Americas doesn't mean St. Vincent. We are in a region of high, and the factors that affect it is not because of the church or because of the police. And yes, there's elements of corruption, but they've said that the focus, the murder rate is largest between For males, at the age of 15 to 29. That's where you're going to see 70-80% of the deaths. What are we doing about young, marginalized males? The church has to play a role. The government has to play a role. But what about family? What about your family? What about you? How engaged are you? Is it the police and church? Me not bother with them? Or is it also you? I think my time is up, but I think that we should re-examine, look ourselves in the mirror and say what role as individuals or part of groups we have played. And maybe also the church has to step up too, and the places step up too, but we need a collective process to really get this job done.
All right, so let me just give my thoughts, all right? Now, I know that we look at the church as a building, and the church by itself is a fix-it-all, right? But the church is, just as I said, the building, and it has to involve the people who are in it, right? Now, there are some of us, my people like myself included, I did not grow up going to church. Mommy would turn on the radio, let's say on a Sunday morning, and that is how I got my religious upbringing, right? So the thing of it is that for me, it's not so much about the church, but is it a case, and not so much about the church slipping, but is it our moral compass as a people that's slipping, right? The church by itself can't fix everything. You can send your child to church. Many, as Dianna said, some of the most wicked people go to church. Serial killers have been known to be on pulpits, preaching. So it's not so much about the church itself and not so much about the building, but is it a case where within our own selves, our moral compass is slipping? And as a result of that, we're faced with all of these social ills, right? Because I did not grow up in a church, but I don't think that I've turned out to be such a horrible person, right? Yeah, depending on who you ask. All right. So I think that this is one of the things that we have to look at. Another thing that we do have to look at is that our form of religion, Christianity, was forced on us through slavery. And there are many persons now, because we are exposed to so much more information, internet and, that whole connection and that whole understanding of things. We are questioning things within ourselves. So many persons might be not necessarily siding with Christianity, but wanting to get back to a place of maybe where it is our spirituality initially came from, and not so much the Christianity aspect of it.
But where is that?
Well, there are some persons who are not, let's accept that because there may be quotes.
No, I don't. Well, let's see.
All right. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Yes, I just can't do it.
Okay, we're going to have to, we have to actually end the segment to take a call from court. So we could continue at around 8:40, 8:45, okay? All right. All right, so I would end that point there, and we would get back to it in the next segment, all right? So for the person who might be listening from court, you can go right ahead and call us at this time.
3, 2, 1. WEFM is